Now let's go to the output side. Now we are going to discuss something called output parsers. Now until now, the output that we get out of the large language model, the output is some kind of string only. It will be a lengthier string. But what if you want the output in a particular format? I don't want the output in the string format. Lengthy doc string, I don't want it. I want the output to be in a comma separated format. Or sometimes I want the output to be in a dictionary format. Key value pair, key value pair, key value pair. So that this dictionary, I can use it later on. This dictionary, I can use it later on to access a particular piece of information. Let us suppose this is the key 2, and then the value for key 2 is what I want to get. Let us suppose the key 2 is email address, and I want to extract exactly the email address. I don't want anything else. I want to extract the exact email address only. Then I can use these key value pairs. Sorry for this. So I can give this particular key and this particular value. I want to extract it. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Let me repeat once again. Until now, the output is in the detailed string format. Now, one particular issue with these large language models output is the output is not static. It may change. The final meaning may be same, but the output format may change. Are you with me, everyone? But what if I want to generate the output? Let us suppose in one of the output, I have asked you take the information about this company and you give me the company name, company details, who's the founder, etc. So the output, it will contain the company name. It will contain how many employees are working in that company, who's the founder of the company, what is the revenue of the company. All those details will be there, but not in a particular structured format that I can send this. Let us suppose if I'm using it as an intermediate output, if I'm using it in a larger application, in that application, I want to send this output and then extract a particular piece of information. It will be very difficult. But what if I generate it in JSON format? Or in simple words, what if I generate it in a simple dictionary format? In this dictionary, I want to have key. The key name is founder of the company and the value is whatever his name, Mr. John. The key 2 is, let's say this is one of the key is founder. The second key is revenue and the value should be containing only revenue, nothing else. And the third key is, let's say, number of employees. And the value should be exactly the number of employees, nothing else. If I want the output in a particular streamlined format like this, no matter how many times I generate the output, since I have defined it has to be like this, it will definitely give it. If it doesn't find the answer, it will simply say NA or answer not available. But at least this format has to stay. This key value format or the JSON format or the simple dictionary type of format is what I am looking for. If we want to stick to that, what is the procedure? Let us see. That is achieved by using something called output parsers. Once again, more and more you interact with large language models, more and more you will realize that this is the prompt that you have to make it perfect. That is why prompt engineering is given a lot of preference. More and more you interact with large language models, more and more you will realize that prompting needs to be perfect. So these output parsers, along with the prompt, we will add extra prompt. We will add extra suffix prompt, or at the end of the prompt, we add something called format instructions. These are known as format instructions. That means in the prompt, we write the usual prompt. Along with it, we will also write extra format instructions. That means you format the output in this particular manner. So let us see how that is achieved. How do you kind of command a large language model to give you the output in the manner that you are looking for? These are known as output parsers. There are multiple output parsers, but we will try to discuss what is that one ultimate output parser or a couple of output parsers that are useful in our general day-to-day life or most of the applications. We'll first talk about CSV Parser. I want the output in either a list or a comma separated value format. So for that, I will say from LangChain output parsers, from LangChain output parsers, import CSV Parser. I think it is not CSV Parser. It has to be comma separated output parser. Comma separated list output parser. Comma separated list output parser. It's not a pure CSV. So then I would say my output parser is comma separated list output parser. What exactly this doing is it will give us some extra format instructions. That means if you use this output parser, these instructions will be added at the end of the prompt. You write your prompt. At the end, what will be the extra sentence that will be added? Your response should be a comma separated values. Example is foo bar bez or foo bar bez. What does this mean? We are giving few shots, we are giving few examples to the large language model, and we are adding one line extra. So what you have to do is you will write your prompt. At the end of the prompt, I would say format instructions equal to these my format instructions. So for example, if your template is, let's say, I want to know what are the top 10 topics to learn in any topic that is given. Let's say I would say my template is what are the, or let's say list down the top 10 concepts to learn from the following topic. The topic name could be anything. It can be quantum physics, or it can be organic chemistry, or it can be machine learning. And then I'm giving one more input. This input comes from the user. What are the top 10 topics to learn? And this input we ourselves will give. That means along with this prompt, we will add another extra prompt saying your output should be like this. Template is written. I think before template, we have a habit of writing something else. What is it? Even though that is not required, we generally write it. What is it?
Temperature is equal to 0, sir.
My large language model declaration along with temperature equal to 0. And then I would say my prompt is equal to prompt template. Template topic name taken by the user, format instructions. I will give those format instructions. What are the format instructions? Your response should be list of comma separated values. So your final prompt will look like this. List down the top 10 concepts to learn from the following topic. The topic name is, let's say, machine learning. And format instructions are your response should be a list of comma separated values or the list of values. All right. So once you do this, I would say my result is equal to invoke topic name, whatever is the topic name. Let's say I would say physics. In physics, what are the top 10? And your response should be a list of values or comma separated values, list of values. So this is not just a CSV, it is comma separated list output parser. So it can give a list also as the output. Let's say if I say machine learning. Remember, whenever there is an output possibility that can change, that means these are the only top 10 topics that everybody must learn. If that is written or documented somewhere, then everybody will get the same output. But there are no such topics, 10 topics that are given at any standard documentation, at any standard paper or any journal. So these 10 topics are subjective. So the machine learning model or the large language model, whenever I execute, it may give a different set of 10 topics. Okay. So here it is giving these 10 topics, but when you execute, you may not see the same 10 topics. Or if I give cohere, I may not see the same 10 topics. So what you need to understand here is if there is only static output, then you will get the same output repeated. If there is a dynamic output or subjective output, if you have a subjective output, then you will get different outputs possible. For example, who is the first president of US? This is type 1, type 2. What kind of output is that? Who is the first president of US?
Type 1, sir.
Type 1. All of us will get the same answer. Yes or no? All the large language models will give the same answer. Now, who are the top 3 presidents of US? Who are the top 3 presidents of US? Now that is subjective. Do you agree? You never really know who are the top 3. Is there anywhere mentioned what exactly is top 3 mean? Top 3 in terms of revenue generation, or top 3 in terms of winning margin, or top 3 in terms of the duration? That is subjective. Are you with me? If the answer is subjective, then here I'm saying number 9 is dimensional reduction, number 10 is model evaluation and selection. Here I see number 9 is natural language processing, number 10 is feature engineering. This is right. This is also right. This is also right. Subjective. Again, I'm coming back to the same discussion. If I'm keeping temperature is 0, it doesn't mean that I'll get the same answer every time. If the output is a subjective, that means if there are multiple answers possible, I may get multiple executions. I may get multiple different answers. Okay. Are you with me, everyone? Datetime parser. What if I want to extract exactly the date time in a particular format? Because usually everything is a string. Now I want to extract date time because my analysis demands, or my tool or the agent that I'm creating, it demands that I have to get the output in the date time format. So date time format, or date time parser it is known as. So how do I do that? I would say from LangChain output parsers import datetime parser. My output parser equal to datetime output parser. Again, everything comes down to you take your prompt, add format instructions. That's it. Add format instructions. Earlier format instructions were about CSV. Now these are the format instructions. So this extra prompt will be added. What is it? Write a datetime string that matches the following pattern: year, month, date, time. And these are few shots. always prompt engineering, if you give few shots, few examples, people who are doing very good with large language models in their prompts, always they are including few shots. When you want to build a very strong or very accurate large language model based program or an agent or a software or a tool, make sure that in your prompt you are including the shots or examples. This is one of the simplest trick that a lot of people miss. We spend a lot of time in writing a good prompt, but we generally miss the shots or the examples. Always mention 2 3 examples, then the large language model will try to mimic whatever you have given. Written only this string, no other words. Basically, you take my whole data as input. I just want you to return the dates only and nothing else. That is my requirement. I'm commanding the way the output should look like. I don't want anything else apart from the dates. For example, I have these server logs. These are my server logs. So that is my first log. And then this is my second log, disk space related warning. And then this is my third log, critical system error. This is my fourth log, user query executed. That is not an error. Error unable to send the HTTP server, etc. So that those are my logs. Okay. These are some of my server logs, and that is it. Let us see whether I have written it correctly or not. Yes, server logs are fine. Now, how do I extract the date out of these? So as usual, I will say my large language model is equal to OpenAI, temperature is 0, or here my template is read the server logs, extract the date and time. The log text is this text. So read the server logs, extract the date and time. The log text is given here. Format instructions. What are the format instructions? These 3 lines also will be added here. Format instruction. Prompt template. Input variable is log text, which is the server logs, and format instructions. Now I would say chain.invoke. I would say my result is equal to chain.invoke. These are the ones. So if I try to execute it, I think there are several dates. It's a good idea. Like this is directly giving us the last date because we are asking for one date and nothing else. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to give one log at a time. I'm giving multiple log files. I'll try to give for log message in server logs. Do this, and instead of server logs, I will take log message here. So I'll take one message. First message will be passed on, and then the date will be extracted. Second message will be passed on, and then the date will be extracted. So if I execute in that manner, so as I see, 4 messages are passed on. The first time the date only extracted 240401, 0804, 0804, 4120. This is a different format altogether, but still we are getting in the precise format that we are looking for. Monday, April 01. This is a totally different format, but still, this is how you get the output in the format that you want by using output parsers. And within output parsers, you use something called format instructions. Format instructions, we are giving a set of format instructions along with few shots. That is actually telling the large language model to give the output in a certain format. Can I totally get rid of these format instructions? Can I write everything in the prompt itself? Without format instructions, can I write it in the prompt itself? It is possible, you can write it. But these format instructions are kind of helper functions for you. Here somebody has written everywhere it is working, you can use it. Otherwise, if you can achieve the same, I can somehow achieve the same by tweaking my prompt. No problem with that. Instead of writing format instructions, I will write my own instructions. Get the date only, get the date in year, month, and date format, and do not print anything other than date. These are my some of the examples. You can write all those instructions, no problem at all. Even then, that also may work. Because after all, what we are doing here is we are adding only these 3 lines, nothing else to this prompt. That is the datetime output parser. Quickly complete this as well. Then we will move on to one important topic. Have you got the date, all of you? The next one is probably the most important topic within this input and output. That is known as the custom output parser. You want to extract a particular piece of information in a particular dictionary or the JSON format. You want the output in a certain JSON format, key value pairs. Key value pairs is what you want. So for that, you have to use something called Pydantic. Pydantic is a totally different package that is usually used in Python development projects when you want to develop a website using Python. In the front end, in Django framework, in Flask framework, we generally tend to use Pydantic. For example, when I'm developing a website, on that website, there is a form. In that form, you have to fill your name, and the name should be string. You have to fill your age. Age should be numeric. You have to fill your date of birth. It has to be in the date format. Now, if the user is filling one number here in the place of name, user is filling one string here in the place of age, and some random values here in the date of birth, then we want to throw an error. We want to have a data validation package there itself. It's not the actual data analysis data validation I'm talking about. I'm talking about the input data validation. If the user is sending some data, filling some data in Python or in website, there itself we want to validate. We want to set some rules like, you know what, this has to be a number. You know what, this has to be a text. You know what, this has to be a date. Otherwise, I will not accept. Have you seen on some websites, if you enter a non-numeric value, it will directly say this is an error. You cannot enter that. Or in the name, if you put a special character, it will say special characters are not allowed. That is done by Pydantic package in the backend. Pydantic is a data validation package. It will validate what is the user input data. Now, what we will do here is we will use that Pydantic data validation package as an output parser here. In our case, we want to use it as an output parser. By using it, we will try to create the output in the format that we are looking for. Remember, all these large language model based applications, a lot of people are focusing on the end product. The end product is some agents, or the end product is creating a RAG. This, with one day effort, anybody can create it. But the real deal is, how do you create an application? How do you create a bot that fulfills your requirements? This will give you the output, but how do you format the output so that you will take a particular piece of that output and send it as an input to another application, another software program that is working in your larger stack? That is why when we are learning this, we have to learn in a structured manner, make sure that we don't miss these important details, like how do you format the output, how do you get the output from different input, how do you get the data from different locations, and how do you declare the chain, what is the prompt, etc., etc. This anyway, anybody can do it. Everybody is talking about them, but we have to learn how do you make them work on solving your problems. Right now, let us talk about this Pydantic package. Then we will see how can we use this Pydantic package to format our output in a particular way that we want. So first, let me talk about this Pydantic package. For that, I think we have to install Pydantic. Let me get the hints from Google Colab. Pydantic PAC package. I think Pydantic must be installed already. I think if you're working on Jupyter Notebook later on, you may have to install it. But I have a feeling that in Google Colab, Pydantic must be there. So from Pydantic, now I'm not going to the LangChain. First, I'm trying to give you an example related to Pydantic. From Pydantic, import base model. The base model is the place where base model is like a package or sub package where all these rules are written. That means you don't need to really create any rules. So I will create a class called user class. It's almost like a function. And once you say base model, this is known as object oriented programming. Once you write like this, whatever is the code in base model, it is will be almost there in user function. So you're taking all that as it is. And then what I'm saying is the name is string, age is integer. Then the validation rules are set. That means if I'm creating a new instance of the user, so user is a function, from there I'm creating this new instance. Okay. So this is a new object that I'm creating, user. So this is known as class. This is all kind of concepts in object oriented programming. But right now, even if you do not know that, simply ignore it. Simply what I'm trying to say is, if we try to create this new user object, if I'm writing my name is Ls, age is 30, will it be created or will it throw an error? Because in the user function, I have mentioned the name as string, age as integer. Is it going to work or is it going to throw an error here? If I try to write it like this, if I try to declare, if I try to create a new user like this, what are the rules? Name should be a string. Is it a string? Yes. Age should be an integer. Is it an integer? Yes. Then it is created. But if I try to write my user1 is equal to user, let's say name is Bob, age is 30. Is it going to work here? Is it going to work? If I write name is Bob, age is 30. Is it going to work?
No.
If I try to print the user, what will be the problem? It will throw an error. What will be the error?
unit error.
So it will try to
In,
say that Pydantic error has occurred, etc., etc. One validation error. Age input should be a valid integer. Unable to parse the string. I cannot parse the string. Now that is the usual use of Pydantic. Usually in data science, we never got a chance to work with Pydantic because for us, input data validation was never a problem. Most of the times our data is in numeric format or tabular format. So we never got a chance to take the data from the user from the website or anything. That is why we never worked with Pydantic. But if you want to generate the output in a particular format, if you want to validate and get the output in a particular format, maybe this Pydantic package can be used as a output parser. So let us try to use this Pydantic to get or to extract a particular piece of information in a particular format. So in LangChain output parsers, from LangChain dot output parsers, import Pydantic output parser. From Pydantic, there are some sub packages, base model and field. From Pydantic, import base model. I think that is base model, comma, field. Now we have to define a class. Class is a kind of function, not exactly a function, but you can imagine class is a kind of function. Class scientist. I'll try to explain you what I'm trying to do here. Once you say base model, so base model is a kind of another class. This I think this process is known as inheritance. So whatever is there inside this base model class, automatically once you create scientist, automatically it will be taken. That means all those rules, all the code that is there in the base model will be part of scientist. On top of it, I'm saying that my name is a string and you have to extract the name of the scientist and put it under name. So the output will be name and then scientist name will be there. Nothing else will be there in that. Date of birth of the scientist. So from the text that you are giving in the output, in this field date of birth, only date of birth. In the biography, you will get the biography. So once I define this class, so how am I going to use it? Now I'm going to write my custom output parser. So my custom output parser is Pydantic output parser. My Pydantic object is a scientist. So what are the rules that are added? Now once you say custom output parser to your regular prompt, that you generally write at the end, format instructions are there, right? Earlier when you said format instructions, these are the instructions added for datetime parser. But now if you say format instructions, these are the instructions that will be added. So the output should be formatted as a JSON instance that conforms the JSON schema below. This is one instruction that we are giving. Another instruction is as an example for the schema properties. Like these are examples, like you have to give as many examples as possible. Are you understanding the point that I'm trying to stress upon here? If you want your large language models to work effectively, what is that you have to give? What is that you have to expose to the large language model? Always give some shorts or examples. Here is the output schema, name, description. Usually we can also write this as it is, but Pydantic will write it in the best possible manner. It's not that obvious. So once you create this, now this is the output parser get format instruction. This will be given as input in the prompt. So let us try to generate a prompt here. So I will say my large language model is equal to OpenAI or Cohere. My template is equal to take the name of the scientist and try to fill the rest of the details. Maybe I'll get the data from Wikipedia or you get the data from anywhere. I'll give that chance to large language model. Take the name of the scientist, let's say Einstein, and then format instructions. So in the output, I want name Einstein, date of birth, and the biography. Biography of the scientist in 4 lines. Let me put it as 4 lines. That's what I want. Okay. So now once the template is done, prompt and then chain and then chain.invoke. Let's say the name of the scientist is Ramanujan. Format instructions are, these are all my format instructions. Prompt is small, prompt is 1 line, but format instructions are 10 lines here. Check this. That's what we want. We want it in JSON format in a particular style. Here is the output instance. So name is Ramanujan, date of birth is this, biography is this. Now this is in the output format. So if you want exactly to extract the name, you can get Ramanujan here. No matter how many times you execute, always only name will be printed here. Apart from name, you will not get anything else. Have you understood what I'm trying to say? This was a problem earlier. How do you extract only name out of that? How do you extract only name? So I am creating one key value pair. Key is date of birth, this is a value. Key is this is a value. Usually this is the format that you have to follow when you're working with large language models inside the apps, maybe the output of one large language model application may be input for the next app. So if you want to extract the output, you have to structure the output as well. For structuring the output in your custom format, you have to use Pydantic. Pydantic output parser is very famous, and it's very important to understand that. We will do a couple of examples to get a better understanding of this. Here, the overall process is very simple. You just need to write your class. The class can be anything, and you write the format, and this is the description, whatever you want. If you do a couple of these, you will get it. You will feel very much easy to work with it. Let us do a slightly complex one. Now I want to create an application. Now these are all simple applications that are doing a hell lot of job. These are the applications that are actually replacing the human beings nowadays, or replacing some of the old applications. People have spent millions and millions of dollars on a product. They are taking the services, or already a lot of companies are taking services from several products or several SaaS based products, software as a service products. Okay. Now with these LLM based small apps, this is an app that can replace that product. We can simply stop buying that product. We can replace it with this LLM based app. This is an email response application where we used to use another company's third party product. Now we want to create on our own. And it's a small piece of cake. It's not going to take any effort. Hardly 1 or 2 days, or maybe within 1 week, we can generate this application, and it will be much more effective, 2x, 3x, or 10x effective than the previous product that we are using from a third party, which was very high or costly. So let me explain you what is this email response apps functionality. So you have to create an application or an agent, or like there are different names that are given nowadays, LLM based application, or you have to create an agent, or you have to create a program, or you have to develop a piece of software. All of them mean the same. You have to create this email response application that will collect the customer communication email. So it has to do a few jobs, obtain the customer's email written in any language. Apparently, our services are given in multiple countries. So we have to build an app that is multilingual support. It has multi-language support as well. It has to understand French, Spanish, Hindi, or maybe local language, English, like that. Multiple languages. It has to understand the email in whichever language. So right now, this is our office. In our office, we are getting multiple emails. This is the email that we are getting. Earlier, we used to read those emails and respond, but now I'm keeping an agent in between, or a small application in between. Now, what this application is doing, collect the email, okay, any language. So this is email in English, and this is the email in Hindi. One Hindi email came in, and this is the email in Spanish. 3 emails came into this app. This app has to understand that email. The app has to identify the language, in which language the email has been sent. That is easy. Translate it to English. Okay. Summarize the key points, probably in English. Craft a preliminary response. It has to craft a preliminary response that is related to the subject. Empathetic. It has to be. It has to be concise. The response should not be like, our team will reach out to you. Thanks for reaching us. We are looking into this issue. You will get the response in 24 to 48 hours. Those are all nonsensical responses. Very generic. We don't want them. We want to understand the context of your email. We want this application to write a response in such a way that the user has to feel, oh yeah, somebody has sent me this email. User should not feel that the response came from an app. The user should feel that the response came from a particular person, so that you come to the office maybe a little late. You see what are all the responses the app has sent, since it has summarized the key point whenever there is a critical issue. If somebody is praising you, then fine, we will ignore that. When there is a critical issue, we will catch them and try to follow up those. That is how people are using large language models right now. Really, companies, those who are using large language models to create new agents, they are actually falling behind. It's not required. Companies who are using large language models to improve the current process, they are actually prospering a lot. When I'm interacting with a lot of experts, what they realize right now is, whenever they are using a different type of applications earlier, they are trying to replace them with LLM based applications. They are seeing huge, enormous improvement. Have you understood the functionalities of this email response app, all of you? Shall we create one like this right now? Any questions on this before we start the solution for this? Are you good to go? Are you feeling bored?
No, sir.
Okay, let's go ahead. You understood the functionalities of this email response app. Let us try to get one email response app. All right. Let us import the packages. I have randomly generated, I have around 5 emails. One email out of that, we will take it randomly. So I would say my email location. So in the email location, I have email 1, email 2, email 3 like that. So I have 5 emails. So if I execute this piece of code, what it will do is it will give me one email every time I try to execute it. So if I try to use this, this is a string that I'm randomly generating. So this is a text file. I'm using web-based loader. I can also use, I think if it is .txt, we can use text loader as well. So this is the email 3, which is in French, I guess. This is French language, isn't it? Bonjour. This is the email that is in Spanish, sent by Linda. Once again, if I execute, I'll get randomly mail number 4. This has been sent by Priya Sharma, which is in Hindi. Like that, 5 emails are there. This is the email that is in Russian, has been sent by this Russian guy. I don't know what is his name. Okay, these are the emails. Now, the whole application that we have discussed, once we understand input loaders, document loaders, once we understand output parsing using Pydantic, even though it looks like a huge application, few years back, it was a huge application. A lot of people were selling it as one of the piece in CRM, and people are making good money out of it. And within a flash, within 10 minutes, we can make this. It doesn't take a lot of effort also to make it, because once you read the data, all that you need to do is send it to a large language model and understand the client requirements and just try to format the output. Let us try to put an effort to format the output. So Pydantic output parser is what we require from LangChain dot output parsers. Import Pydantic output parser, our favorite one. From Pydantic, there are sub packages called base model, field. So I would like to create a class called email response. First, I would say I would inherit from base model. I will take everything from base model. On top of it, I'll add my rules. What is the first rule? Let's go to the word collect the email communication collected. Language identification is what we want to do. So I want to identify the language. So I would like to say my email language is the original language of the email. You can write any description here that will help the large language model to extract this piece of information. Customer ID also I'm extracting the customer ID mentioned in the email. English version of the email. The email after translating it to English. That is also a string. And then the summary of the email. A 4 bullet point summary of the email that will be stored in summary. Reply, a polite 2-line reply to this email. Let me say relevant or 2-line related to reply to this email based on the email context. Okay, I want the output should be based on the email context, because Priya Sharma is mentioning that maine aapka hal dil something. Let's get one English email. So this is Telugu email. This is Russian. I have removed English, is it? There's nothing like English. Okay, Telugu I can understand. I'm trying to tell you what is happening here is uh, there's something it's saying like rendu pradhana samasyalu. It means there are two big issues. Okay, and there are like issue number 1, issue number 2. Anyway, so based on whatever is the email, we want to give the proper response. So once you do this, done. That is it. This whole application is done. Read the input, get these values as the output, as simple as that. And then I would say I define my class, which is known as email response. I would say custom output parser, Pydantic output parser, print the instructions. The output should be formatted as JSON instance. Like we did not write it. Once you define it, Pydantic output parser is taking care of it in the backend. Thanks to Pydantic output parser, you're writing a lot of lines of code on my behalf. And then I would say my large language model is equal to OpenAI. And then my template, help me. My template is equal to take the email as input. Email text is email. Format instructions, whatever I have given, those format instructions, take them from template, email and format instructions. My large language model, my LLM already defined. I would say my chain is take that LLM, take my prompt, my results, take the email. Email has been stored in something called final mail. Take that as input, and then custom output parsers. That is it. And I'm expecting in a JSON format precisely like this. Email language is French. Customer ID is this. English email is problems with my new health insurance. That is the English email. Summary is customer ID is this. Email is this. Two problems with insurance. Missing documents. And request for quick resolution. Let me re-execute this so that we can get a different email. Okay, here if I execute, Hindi email is there. Sent by Priya Sharma. Let us see. Email language is Hindi. Maybe as soon as we see email language is Hindi, we will send it to a team that understands Hindi. Then that team will respond tomorrow. But before that, we have already sent an email response to the customer. Customer ID is this, English email is this, complaint about the loan related issue. So summary is complaint about not receiving the loan agreement, error in the monthly repayment schedule. That is it. Let me generate one more email. These are like 5 emails I have stored. So this is Russian email. We don't understand anything out of it. But let us see what does the large language model do. I'm not sure Cohere is going to give these accurate results. We'll try with Cohere also. Product received did not match the description. So that is what the Russian email is. Let me try Cohere. What does Cohere say? Is it giving this type of accurate results? I haven't seen anything better than OpenAI as of now. Cohere is taking time. Not bad, but not as good as the OpenAI. Usually, we start seeing what are the problems with the large language models when we start building these real life applications like this, which require a little bit more than the simple searching or simple summarization. Here it requires to understand from different language, summarize, and then reply. If you want the reply also, you can give in the original language. Let us suppose if the user has sent it in Russian, you can also send this reply in Russian. If I want to add one more, let's say you can send the reply in English. So let me say reply in or reply language or original language. This is what I want to create. That is also a string. And how do I define it? Description is a two polite line reply to the email based on the context of the email in the original language. In the original language that email was sent to us. Okay. Let us see. Once we do this, let us see whether it can generate the Russian reply as well. This is the reply. Where are we missing? This is the reply. Did we miss executing of anything? Okay. This is the original email response. This is the custom output parser. Get format instructions. Reply. Let me remove the reply altogether. Somewhere we are missing something. I'll remove the reply. Reply itself, I'll try to write this one in the original email. I just want to check whether we are executing. So let me re-execute this. So email response, basically this reply earlier we were giving in English. I will also say not in English. Not in English. Just to be on the safe side. So this is the English email. This is the summary. This is the reply. Apply to reply. 2-line reply. Okay, fine. So looks like it is not generating in English. So let me try to rename this as something else. Somehow it is not updating these. Custom output parser 1. Custom output parser 1 is what we will take. And then this we will give it as input. No, it is not converting it. Maybe we will write the one polite to reline reply based on the email. It is not giving, maybe OpenAI doesn't have the ability to generate in English. I have seen it has the ability to generate in other languages as well, but somehow the prompt that we are writing it here, it is not picking it up. reply to the mail in the original language of the email. Maybe somewhere the original language of the email, somewhere we are not passing it on. Email language. That also I'll try to give it. All right. Let's try one more time. If it works, fine. Otherwise, we'll leave that. Somehow we need to tell. Yeah. Now with this new instruction, since I'm saying this is the email language, somehow by changing it, I'm generating in the same language that it is giving us. So this is a simple app. Now this app in itself may not be a full final product. The output of this particular program will go as an input, and in a bigger stack of multiple products that we have, maybe somebody will receive email language as one of the input, one of the program will receive customer ID, another program may receive the reply that we have sent or the summary. Based on the summary, on top of it, we can write another prompt and say that in this summary, have you found any critical issues? If you have found critical issues, give the score above 7. If you haven't found any critical issues, give the score below 7. Or if you found any compliments, maybe give the score as a positive score or something like that. We can build a larger application. So that is the story of large language models input and output. Input document loaders, multiple document loaders are there. And in the output, the Pydantic output parser is one of the most important one. Any quick questions, anybody?